Welcome to Counseling Now. I'm Herman Cummings.
And I'm Grace Lopez.
Today we have a special show on professional development with special guests Patty Hayes and Julie Fryer. And we're going to talk about the importance of professional development as a counselor in training. It's important to get involved in professional organizations like the ACA or the AMFT, get into certain divisions like multicultural counseling, family counseling. What other benefits of that you could think of, Grace, that for professional development?
Well, it gets all interns and counselors in training ready to get into the working world, because once they start working, they're going to need to go to these conferences and be able to acquire the continuing education credits they need. And also, if they want to publish, they get to network and meet other people within their fields, so they can start publishing some of the stuff they're interested in.
Exactly. One of the conferences that took place last month was the ASGW conference, and we have two guests who were participating in that conference, Patty Hayes and Julie Fryer. We're going to talk to them today. How are you ladies doing today?
Fine, thank you.
Good, thank you.
Good. Tell me, what is the ASGW? Is that an organization that someone can join, or what is that about?
Yes, it's a division of ACA, but it's the Association of Specialists in Group Work. So it's they have conferences every 2 years that you can attend.
Oh, every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And we are student members, and then they also have professional members. There's different categories that you'll fit into depending on your status in the counseling community.
Indeed, that's very interesting. And I know you went to the conference. Why don't you talk a little bit about that? What was that experience like for you?
I just thought it was amazing. I mean, we come here, we go to school, we're in the classroom so much. But to really have an experience outside of the classroom is just, it's on a totally different level of just being involved. And I'm not going to say that classes aren't fun, but it's a different kind of fun.
Definitely.
Yeah, like a whole new experience outside the classroom. I can imagine how exciting that can be. And definitely, you guys were in New Orleans,
yes,
which had to be exciting.
It was very nice.
Indeed. Patty, what was it like actually being involved in the conference? We know you were with other students that were in the conference as well. What was that like for you?
The students there it was cool to interact with them because they were from different cities and states. A lot actually were from Georgia, which was really surprising to me. And we got to meet them and hear about what they like to do and the different activities they're interested in and what they like about group work. And not only the students, but we got to meet some of the counselors and professionals within the community, and meeting some of the people that wrote our books and did the videos that we watch in class, and you thinking that they're probably larger than life and you'll never be able to talk to them, and then they're just these down-to-earth normal people, and it's really cool to shake hands with them and just get to know them, and they talk to you one-on-one as if you were just one of their colleagues, and they're not way above you and you're not way below them. That was a really cool part for me.
I can imagine, and the two you're probably referring to was Ed Jacobs and Gerald Corey,
Yes.
Which write a lot of our textbooks. They were present at the conference, and you talked a little bit about what it was like meeting them and how down to earth they were, and did it give you a new perspective or a different opinion about, was it what you expected when you met them?
I know, me personally, it was not, because we've had countless books that Gerald Corey specifically have written, and he just seemed like on the screen like he was just, so knowledgeable, and he is, don't get me wrong, but he's one of those kinds of smart that you don't think that you'll be able to hold a conversation with him just because he knows everything there is to know about counseling, and yet he just introduces himself and just, asks you about you and wants to know what you're like. And Ed Jacobs also, he's, the group master. He wrote the group book, and he has so many different creative techniques, and I actually got to sit in on one of his workshops on creative group techniques, and he again was just so down to earth and spoke to you as if you were a colleague and like he's known you for years even.
Yes, you went to the conference with, I believe it was 8 or 9 different students, and Dr. Gillum and Dr. Hackett. What exactly were you guys presenting at this conference?
We were presenting on, well, of course it was about group work, so we were doing group work, but the 1-hour collaboration course, it was pretty much, if we were to expand that, or if the college was to expand that to a 3-hour course, how to really incorporate true collaboration and group work among administrators, teachers, counselors, because everybody in the College of Education has to take this course. So instead of just saying, here's a problem, work it out, really how to let the group process.
And also how different stakeholders within the community are involved. We involved parents, teachers, community counselors, school counselors. So although ours was more based around school counseling, we wanted to make sure to involve all stakeholders of a child's life within the community and within our collaboration text. Because within the collaboration class here, we have the educational leadership as well as the teachers and the counselors, and it's important to learn how all of those people work together.
Indeed, involve everyone in the process. I know we have some pictures from that conference, and we're going to show it to you, give you a feel of what it was like to be at the conference and the experience that the students had there. And indeed, this conference was at February 28th through the 21st. It was in New Orleans. A great experience. I know that you talked about, you sat in on one of the workshops of Ed Jacobs. What was that like? What was the workshop on? And what did you learn from that experience, Patty?
It was on using creative techniques in group work, and his book that we used in our group techniques class here, he's doing a DVD version of that coming out with the next edition of the book. So he was giving us kind of a preview of what was going to be on that DVD and giving examples of how to use his techniques within a group, and just really giving us a preview of the edition that he's going to have for this edition.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And I could just imagine how great that those experiences are. And as we continue to show you, you folks at home, the pictures from this conference, to bring the conference to you, a lot of great experiences there. And we see some of the students that were involved in this conference.
That's me on the far right. That's actually, I was blessed to be in what was called the Emerging Leaders Workshop, and this was actually a picture of the volunteers. Sorry, but I was in an Emerging Leaders Workshop, which the ASGW does at each one of their conferences, and it gave me the opportunity to connect with other potential emerging leaders of the association, and to meet the board as well, and just be able to make that solid connection within the association.
All right, as we continue to show you some pictures, what exactly happened here?
Well, we're driving down I-10, and Patty's got the music going, and we're just cruising along, and kind of hear this noise, and in the back somebody says, "I think we had a blowout," and Patty's like, "No," and I said, "No, I don't think so either." So we ride along, and all of a sudden Patty goes, "Oh no, we did have a blowout," and we're in the far left lane.
Yeah.
She's driving at about 75. So then she's like, "We got to get over to the side," and cars, of course, nobody's letting us over. So Patty did a amazing emerging leader. She was an emerging leader there and got us safely to the shoulder.
Very good.
It was very scary, but this was afterwards when we finally found a place to change our tire, and luckily these people were very nice and stayed open for us late. And that gentleman, is he down there?
Yes.
Yeah, that gentleman, I don't remember his name, but he was very nice, and Julie thought it would be funny to take a picture of us standing there with him. So that's that picture. And let's see what's up here next. Oh, this is pulling into New Orleans, and of course, was it the week before? I believe it was the week before the Saints had just won the Super Bowl. So there was huge, celebratory signs, "We Dat, World Champions."
Yeah, I can imagine that was a unique time to be in New Orleans, right after the Super Bowl, then Mardi Gras. So was there, that had to be quite an experience for you guys.
It definitely was. It was, it was just after Mardi Gras when we were there, and just after the Super Bowl win, so the whole town, or the whole city was still kind of on a high, and a lot of excitement still going on there.
Right. Sounds very exciting as we look at some more pictures.
It's Cafe Du Monde, which is a New Orleans staple. They say that you can't go to New Orleans without going to Cafe Du Monde. And
Was it good?
It was amazing.
Amazing, delicious beignets and cafe au lait. Is that how you pronounce
Coffee,
it?
yeah, the
Or
coffee with the chicory in it.
Yeah, chicory coffee.
Chicory coffee.
What else is here? Oh, I skipped one. Oh well. This is Gerald Corey in the middle there with most of our presenting group. There's one person missing there, unfortunately. And this was just when we were going to workshops, just one of the days that we were there, and we stopped to take a picture with him, so he posed with us.
Yes, you were talking about earlier how down to earth they are, and Dr. Corey and Dr. Jacobs, you can see how they allowed you to take a picture of them right there. Sounds like a very cool experience, which is really one of the many reasons why students should get involved in professional development. There's a whole bunch of experiences. You get yourself immersed into the counseling field, get to meet all kinds of professionals. Let's show some more pictures from that, from the experience there.
This was at our the luncheon we had there at the conference, and I believe that was a
like
picture
with
that
Lee Sullivan, Ann Howard, Sarah Haas and Denise Wade.
Yes.
So
And they
it's
had
everybody from our group except for Julie because she's taking the picture.
Yeah.
Right.
This is our actual presentation group with Dr. Gillum and Dr. Hackett off to the side. This was just after our little workshop presentation. We just wanted to take an opportunity to get a picture of all of us.
Oh, neat.
You know, something I'd like to say too about the different workshops. If you attend something like this and you don't find a workshop that you enjoy or something that interests you, then you might want to check and see what's kind of going on with you, because they have something for everybody here.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a topic you're not interested in, by the time you've left, you'll be interested in a new topic.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And they had like 4 or 5 options for each time
Yeah.
slot even. So if something didn't interest you in one time slot, you'd be able to
Go to something.
Yeah.
right, go to another one, or even like Julie said, sit in on one that you thought you'd never be interested in, and by the time you leave, you've got
liked
a
it.
whole new
Oh,
idea.
very interesting. As we continue to show you, flip through some pictures, I want to talk to you, Julie, about, you spoke about the workshops, and it will be hard not to find something that was right for you. What did you find that was particularly interesting to you, that you attended?
The one that I brought back with me, so to speak, is on working in groups with people in post-disaster areas. And it was kind of ironic to be in New Orleans, you know, with everything that happened with Katrina. And this summer from that, I'm actually going to do an independent study.
Oh,
And
really?
we're going to actually take a trip back to New Orleans with a group of students to work in the St. Bernard Parish. So I'm going to write my theory paper on that, and that's something I would have never thought of before until I attended this
It
conference.
opened up new
It
ideas.
really
for you.
did.
Yeah, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And then right there is Ed Jacobs, by the way. You took a picture with him as well.
Yeah.
Sounds like a really great experience. What would you say would be coming before? How have you changed before you went and now after you have attended this this conference? How have you changed, or what have you learned from this experience?
I'd say for me personally, you know, when I started this program, I was so focused on school counseling and stuff that happens within the school setting. And after attending this conference, I mean, there were plenty of things going on that had to do with school counseling, but it just opened up so much for me in the community, like understanding what really goes on in community counseling and different avenues you can take. So that was huge for me to get outside of my box.
Yeah, very interesting.
For me, I think it was the networking. Like they just showed that picture of Ed Jacobs, and he actually told us about this workshop he does during the summers that's in more advanced on theories, actually, which we know Dr. Baltimore would be very happy to hear about. But he uses specific, skills and like really breaks down the theories. And it's this conference of the summer. He told us about it. And he was like, "You guys should go. It would be a great opportunity." So for me, it's a networking, and I'm also getting involved with the president of ASGW to start potentially a mentoring program between graduate students and the professionals in the community like Ed Jacobs and like Gerald Corey, to be able to have graduate students be able to sit down with them and kind of pick their brain and be able to talk to them on just a personal level and get to have a better understanding of who they are as people as well as counselors. So it was networking for me and getting to meet a lot of new people and make a lot of new connections.
Networking is very important. Who is the president of the ASGW?
I always mispronounce her name because it's different. Her name is Bagusha. Is that it? Bagusha. Oh, what's her last name? I just completely forgot her last name. Bagusha is her name. She is the new president of ASGW, and actually, our Dr. Gillum is a past president of ASGW, so she was huge in kind of making that connection and introducing me to Bagusha and setting up that connection. And I got to meet the whole board from that Emerging Leaders
That's exciting.
workshop. Yeah, it was very exciting, and Dr. Gillum was there, and she kind of eased the process. But like I said, everybody's just very friendly, and they're not hard to approach. They're very approachable people, and they want to get as many graduate students involved as possible. So that's really what got me into it as well.
So the mentoring program would really help.
Definitely, definitely.
Well, it sounds like this was a tremendous experience for you guys. You learned a whole lot, and you can see how important it was for you for your professional development. Getting to liaison with the various professionals in the field and getting to learn from them from the workshops. Very important as you continue on, not only when you're in the program, but when you're into your profession as well. And I believe both of you are in the school or community counseling field.
Both in school counseling.
Both in school counseling. All right. You said that it was not just for school counselors, but community counselors could have attended this conference as well. It was very applicable for that as well, wasn't it? And you both said that you are student members. How did you become members of this organization? If some students that are watching this program want to be members of the ASGW, how do they do that?
It's pretty simple. Actually, you just
Yeah,
go to the website. Yeah, asgw.org, and they just have an area there where you say sign up.
And you'll get newsletters,
And
journals.
it's reduced the price for students?
Yes, it's actually not expensive at all. I believe it's only like $30.
And I think if you're a member of ACA, you get
even cheaper.
You can join.
Both.
You can join both together and have a little bit more of a discount too. Yeah.
That's good. And then also, I think something students would want to know is, in order for you guys to get down there, you were able to get funds within the university, right? So if you want to talk a little bit about that process, it might be short, but just so students have an idea of what they have if they want to go.
Sure. It's an easy but a difficult process. It's easy because if the funds are available, the dean and his secretary will make it very easy for you to go through the process, but it's also a difficult process because you have to set up everything yourself and then just give them all the paperwork. So it did involve a lot of paperwork of calling the hotel and calling for us the rental car company and setting everything up with the conference fees with ASGW. But then I talked to Brenda Gross, who's the secretary of the dean, as well as the dean, and we just talked about why we wanted to go to this conference and who was going to this conference. And I believe at one point they've met all of us. And they liked that we were presenting. So the enthusiasm you show for the funds that they're going to give help to kind of push it along a little faster. But realistically, if the funds are available, they are very willing to give them for students to travel to these conferences.
And you would recommend that people get on top of it, maybe contact the professor first or go see Dr. Hackett and let them know what they're interested in.
Definitely. If you're not already, talking to a professor about presenting, because we were already kind of linked up with Dr. Gillum, talk to your advisor or the professor who you think would have kind of to be able to help you to get, to talk to the dean if you haven't met the dean. It's just another kind of networking thing too. It gives you a new person to talk to, a new connection to make. But just talk to your professors and they can kind of ease you into the process of those student funds if you're not quite sure of how to go about that.
Thank you. That would help a lot of students because I know a lot of people have been interested in that, getting down and being able to go to conferences, but because we are graduate students, we don't have much money.
Right, concerned about the financial part of it.
Right.
And then if you want to hear more about the professional development and actually going down to different conferences, Patty Hayes and Julie will also be at the Chi Sigma meeting tonight at 7:30. So if anyone's interested, it's in Jordan Hall, room 132, and they're going to speak a little bit about their experience. Maybe if you have any questions, you can come down and ask them.
Indeed, we hope that this has been very useful information for you. Joining professional organizations is not very hard, especially for a student. It's usually around $30, whether it's the ASCGW or the ACA or the AMFT. You get various publications from journals from those organizations. So it's a very, very beneficial as you are a student to get involved in professional organizations. It's really about professional development. It doesn't only take place while you're a student, but afterwards as well. As for Grace Lopez, I'm Herman Cummings, signing off.